Alright, what is up folks? So I'm going to start this video with a trigger warning. The contents I'm about to discuss is going to trigger a lot of people. And I also apologize if my face is a little bit dark. I'm trying to avoid the sun directly because what happens when I start filming directly under the sunlight is that the contrast for the footage just becomes absolutely terrible. But you guys don't really need to look at my face too much. I mean, I've covered in previous videos. I consider myself to be a fairly ugly looking man. It's the contents of the video that I'm about to discuss. That's what's most important. Okay, so here it goes. So my stepmom, she's probably one of the skankiest person on earth. I'm talking about, she's a blue checkmark verified. Those accounts on X that has been verified by Elon Musk. So yeah, she's a blue checkmark verified horologist. So what is a horologist? By the way, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So when I'm talking about horology, I'm not talking about the study of time. I'm talking about the fact that she actually used to be a full-time horologist with a W. So yes, back in the early 1990s, my stepmom, she used to work as a prostitute in the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen. How do I know this? Well, here's the thing, I've discussed this before. In fact, I have even shown you guys the place where I was born. I grew up in a tiny little suburb of roughly 30,000 people. It's one of those places where pretty much everybody knew everybody. And even back in my hometown, my stepmom was known to be a professional horologist. In fact, I even know the rates she was charging for various kind of services. And obviously, I lived in a very, very small town. She wasn't making enough money. That's why she decided to hit the big city back in the early 1990s. And she worked as a prostitute for 6 months before coming back to northeastern China, and that's when she actually married my dad. And everybody knows this, okay? I'm not making this up. I want to be 100% honest in all of my videos. So why would my dad choose to marry my stepmom, knowing that she used to work as a prostitute? I mean, my dad, he's borderline retarded as well. He's got all kinds of issues, right? This is what happens when you start doing too much gambling, too much smoking, and too much drinking. And that's why their marriage is 100% chaos. So the reason why I want to discuss this topic is that, recently what I've noticed after traveling to 24 different Chinese cities, including towns and villages, is that the number of foreigners in China has decreased dramatically over the past, 10, 15 years. I would say the first couple times since I returned to China from Canada around 2009, 2010, that was, when the number of foreigners in China actually peaked. Right, so I would say compared to back in 2009, 2010-ish, early 2010s, compared to the number of foreigners in China that's in 2025 now, the number has probably decreased by 60 to 70%. Unless you live in the mega cities like Beijing or Shanghai or Guangzhou, it's very, very rare to see foreigners in China now. And one of the top reasons I've discussed this in the past, right? I'm sorry to say this, like the dating struggle for Asian men is real. China already has a massive surplus of all of these excess men, so it's something like 35 to 40 million. And what happened was, when China actually decided to have relax their border policies, and when China welcomed more foreigners into the country, one trend that I've noticed is that I would say 98% of interracial couples that's in China involves a foreign man. Vast majority of the time it's a white man. Sometimes it could be a black guy, it could be an Arab guy, it could be an Indian guy, it could be a Mexican guy. So 98% of the time it's a foreign man that's dating or marrying a Chinese girl. And this is going to make dating even more impossible for the local Chinese man. I'm sorry to say, this is for all Asian women, right? Doesn't matter if you're Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Filipino, Vietnamese, Thai. So Asian women, on average, once again, I'm talking about on average, right? They're the least loyal to their men, and there are various factors to be considered. And one factor could be that, perhaps Asian men, generally speaking, have a small penis. I don't know if that's 100% true. I'm just saying it's one of the possibilities. But I'm not going to talk about the dicks too much for this video. See, this is the issue. So generally speaking, right, there's a new trend that's emerged in China in the past few years. China is actually slowly closing itself off from the rest of the world. Obviously, everybody knows that, the marriage rates are on decline in China, birth rates are on decline. China is facing an imminent population collapse. But, countries like China, like Japan, South Korea, they have made it 100% crystal clear, right? We're not going to follow the path of Western countries, right? We're not going to become UK or Germany or Italy or Spain or Australia or the United States States or Canada, right? China is going to be a homogenous country, and the vast majority of the population is going to remain Han Chinese, and that's their policy going forward. China will not be looking to taking any immigrants or refugees or asylum seekers, right? And I think one of the factors obviously they have considered is that, you know, when they let all these foreign men into the country, right, all these foreign men are going to be mingling with their local Chinese women, and it's going to make dating and marriage even more impossible for the local Chinese man. So generally speaking, right, if you're a Chinese woman, and I'm talking about, you know, this is the new 2025 trend, and if, you know, the local Chinese guy knows that, you know, if you have, you know, been messing around with foreign men, could be a white man, could be black man, could be Indian guys, could be Mexican guys, generally you're relegated to the category of damaged goods. It's just like what white man in America or Canada or Europe, how they look at the white woman who has been drilled by the BBC. So I would say probably for at least 80% of white men in Western countries, right, once they know that, you know, a white girl has become a nobody, once they know that, you know, she has been with a black guy, it's pretty much over for her. She's been relegated. So what is relegated? You guys watch like soccer, the English Premier League or La Liga? So every season, right, the bottom 3 teams, they get kicked out of the Premier League, and they go down to the next level. And you know, in 2025, a lot of Chinese guys, they have the exact same mindset. They're saying that, you know, these Chinese women who are extremely disloyal, they don't like their own man, they want to enter an interracial relationship, they like getting drilled by white guys or black guys, whatever. Well, guess what? We don't want you as well. See, I do support this movement. It doesn't matter, you know, if she's been with foreign guys or just local Chinese guys. You know, having an insane number of body count is going to be terrible for that woman. And obviously, I mentioned my stepmom. And it is extremely difficult to find a good woman nowadays, right? And obviously I've covered the issue of modern simps, how they're a plague to society. I'm not going to mention any names. I got to know one of these Asian simps. So he got married for the first time when he was 36. Basically, he struggled for his entire life with dating, all the way until he was into his mid-30s, right? He was getting rejected and not getting any luck, right? And so after he turned 35, he finally found a good government job. He was making 6 figures. After saving up for a couple years, he was finally able to purchase a home. And it wasn't until actually he bought a house, it wasn't until this guy got a 6-figure job, he was finally able to get a girlfriend. And, you know, a lot of women nowadays, you know, every time you bring up the topic of women being gold diggers, they get extremely angry about it. But this is exactly what happened to this guy. So he found another Asian girl who was around the same age. She might have been slightly younger, 34 or 33, right? Unfortunately, so I think what happened was that, you know, this woman, she has a extremely sexually promiscuous past. She has a very, very high body count going into the marriage, and their marriage just ended up being a complete disaster. They were only married for maybe 2-3 years, but they was constantly bitching, fighting, and arguing every single day, and they ended up being divorced, right? A lot of modern women, I'm not talking about just you know, black women or white women or Latino women. This includes a lot of modern Asian women, right? And they spend their younger days, you know, let's say between the ages of 18 to 30, riding what do you call this? The cock carousel. Yeah, I'll just call this the cock carousel, because that's exactly what they're doing. That's what my stepmom did. And then after they turn 30, they think that, oh my god, you know, I've had all the fun in this world. Maybe I'm finally ready to settle down, and I'm finally ready for a husband, and I'm ready to become a mother. I'm ready to you know, take on the household duties. What a bunch of BS. I want to bring up my stepmom. Here's the thing, right? There's no such thing as a born again virgin, right? If you have already sinned, it's over for you, right? There are people out there like Riley Reid. What's her name? Riley Matthews. I think that's a real name, right? I'm sorry to say, I can't believe a white guy actually agreed to marry her. I mean, these women who spent you know, their late teens and 20s, right? There's someone like Riley Reid getting drilled by Dredd, by a Mandigo, by a Flash Brown, by a Richard Mann, by Sheen Diesel, and she thinks that after all of that, right, after getting 100% stretched out, now I'm ready to become a mother, now I'm ready for my husband. So that's exactly what my stepmom did. After being one of the skankiest Chinese women alive, right, after working as a prostitute, and you know, obviously her marriage was extremely chaotic, even though I believe my dad and my stepmom are still married, but obviously they've been separated for a very, very long time. They're just married on paper, because I don't think they can actually afford to get divorced, right? They can't agree on the post-divorce settlements, they can't afford to hire lawyers, so they're just married on paper. So yeah, I believe at the age of maybe 36, possibly 37 or 38, that's when my stepmom decided that, you know what, oh, I'm ready to wash away the sins of my past. She claims to be, you know, a born-again virgin, to be pure again, and she started following like Buddhism. She started following Shangdi. She got this, you know, fortune god. She bought all of these, you know, books of truth. She started reading reading all of these weird poems every single day, and she's going like, "Ah, mi tuo fu, oh please, Shangdi, please Guan Yin, please God, wash away all of the sins of my past," right? All of the clients I was seeing back in Shenzhen for those 6 months, all of those Chinese whistles that I was blowing, none of that actually ever happened. I was going through my whole phase, but I'm 100% clean now. I want to follow the path of the fortune god. I want to follow the path of Shangdi. I want to follow the mandate of heaven. I want to become one with the Buddha, to become one with the Guan Yin. There's no such thing, okay? Listen, if you're a woman who has slept with over 100 men, it doesn't matter if it's Chinese guys or black guys or white guys or Indian guys, it's 100% over for you. You don't deserve to be absolved by God, by the prophet, by Jesus, by Buddha, whatever it is that you're worshiping. You don't deserve any sympathy, and no man in this world should ever simp for you. No man in this world should actually ever feel sorry for you. And you have destroyed all the chances you have at happiness. And I'm sorry to say, you made all those terrible decisions back in your younger days, and you 100% deserve to die alone. So my key message in this video is that guys, stop being simps to these absolutely terrible women. Stop being simps to Lana Rhoades. By the way, Lana Rhoades got married as well, right? She married a former NBA All-Star, Blake Griffin. I don't know if they're separated or still together, but still, right? And Riley Reid actually got married to a white guy. That is a definition of being a cuck, right? You guys ever watch those videos where basically the white guy brings his snow bunny girlfriend into a room, and he's sitting in the corner on a bench watching his snow bunny girlfriend getting triple teamed by 3 black guys? That is the dictionary definition of Riley Reid's husband. That's exactly what he's doing. I don't know what has gotten into his mind. So in conclusion, right? For any man out there in the world, it doesn't matter where your ethnic background is. It doesn't matter if you're Chinese or Japanese or Korean, if you're a white guy, if you're a black guy, if you're Arab, if you're Latino, if you're Indian, right? Any woman worldwide that has an extremely sexually promiscuous past, right? Stop simping for these women. Stop begging to become their 135th sexual partner. If a woman has been divorced, if she has 3 different children with 3 different baby daddies, stop begging on your knees for those kind of leftover damaged women in order to become their 4th husband, because you're only going to bring chaos and destruction to yourself, to your family, and to your marriage, right? Just look at what happened to Will Smith, right? This is what happens when you marry a woman who used to be a hoe in the past, because his wife was cheating on him with his son's best friend. I mean, that is absolutely disgusting. So that's my key message, right? I didn't want to reveal the fact that my stepmom actually used to work as a prostitute, but at this point I don't even care anymore. It's just all her fake BS about Buddhism, about karma, about Guan Yin. It's just gotten extremely annoying. I wish people who has gone through a whole phase like my stepmom would actually stop preaching these ideas, because you don't deserve the mandate of heaven. You don't deserve to have the blessings from the Buddha, from Shangdi or Guan Yin. For the woman who has chosen a career like that in their past, listen, I have a very, very simple solution for you. You can buy a dog and die alone. That's it.
Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now.